Sean O'Malley recently shared his reaction to the thrilling matchup between Merab Dvalishvili and Petr Yan at UFC 323, a fight that sent shockwaves through the MMA world. Yan delivered one of the most impressive performances of his career, snapping Merab's remarkable 14-fight winning streak in a way few expected. Not only did Yan successfully defend 27 of Merab's takedown attempts, but he also managed to take the Georgian contender down 5 times, showcasing a level of wrestling dominance that stunned fans and fighters alike. O'Malley, who was live streaming as he watched the fight, couldn't hide his excitement and admiration. He praised Yan's timing, pace, and relentless pressure, calling it one of the most impressive performances he had ever seen. At one point, he joked about wanting Yan next, though he acknowledged the UFC would not pull him out of his scheduled fight against Song Yadong in January. Still, his reaction captured the energy many felt. Yan was back in championship form. Other fighters echoed that sentiment. Umar Nurmagomedov congratulated Yan while reminding the public that his own upcoming fight with Davison Figueiredo at UFC 324 will determine the next top contender. Middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev also applauded Yan's victory, wishing him a speedy recovery and praising his resilience. Russian standout Movsar Evloev added his respect, emphasizing that Yan once again proved the results of hard work and dedication. Following the fight, Yan expressed gratitude to his supporters, saying that history had been made and everything was finally back in its proper place. Meanwhile, a reflective Merab addressed his home country, family, and fans, insisting he felt strong, motivated, and determined to return even better. Despite losing his title, Merab maintained his trademark. Reinier de Ridder recently provided an important update regarding his recovery and future in the UFC, following his concerning loss to Brendan Allen in October. After the defeat raised questions about his health and long-term condition, de Ridder has reassured fans that he is recovering well and making significant progress. During a recent appearance at a karate combat event, he spoke with confidence and optimism about his physical improvements and his readiness to move forward. When asked about his current condition, de Ridder explained that the past several days had been especially encouraging. He noted that he had returned to sparring earlier in the week and had completed several intense training sessions without issue. According to him, the improvement in his performance and overall feeling has been steady, giving him confidence that a full return is within reach. He emphasized that he feels ready to go, signaling that his recovery is no longer a major obstacle. As for what comes next in his fighting career, de Ridder acknowledged that the UFC's middleweight division is currently experiencing a lull, with limited activity and few matchups being scheduled. Because of that, he remains flexible about his next opponent and is not focused on calling out any specific fighter. Instead, he made it clear that his ideal scenario would be a rematch against Brendan Allen, as he believes the loss did not reflect who he truly is as a competitor. He admitted that a rematch may not be realistic at the moment, but he remains open to whatever matchup the UFC proposes. Before the setback against Allen, de Ridder had been on an impressive run, winning 5 consecutive fights, including 4 inside the UFC. One of the most notable victories during that streak came against former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, a performance that elevated his standing within the division and solidified him. While discussing the ongoing conversations surrounding Alex Pereira, Khamzat Chimaev revealed major news about his future, and also took aim at the reigning champion. In a recent interview with ESPN MMA, Chimaev confirmed that he is preparing for a significant career move following his next appearance in the octagon. According to him, he intends to fight once more at middleweight before officially moving up in weight. He explained that the division above is filled with major names, major opportunities, and major paydays, which makes the move both exciting and strategically smart. Even so, he emphasized that he still wants one final middleweight bout before making the transition. This next fight, he stated, will be his last at 185 pounds. Shortly after discussing his plans, Chimaev shifted to the topic of Alex Pereira, and did not hold back. He expressed clear frustration about the difficulty of securing a fight with the champion, saying he believes the UFC is hesitant to book the matchup and suggesting that Pereira himself has avoided the idea. According to Chimaev, Pereira accepted a fight with Dricus du Plessis, but has repeatedly claimed that fighting Chimaev is not a good option. He dismissed Pereira's assertion that he is more famous and that Chimaev is merely using his name for attention. Chimaev argued that a simple greeting on his social media stories generates more views than an entire Pereira fight, insisting that the champion is fully aware of the threat he poses. He stated plainly that Pereira does not want the fight because he knows the challenge involved. Although Chimaev declined to repeat what the UFC allegedly told him about the situation, he maintained that everyone understands Pereira is not on his level. In the same interview, Chimaev also reacted to comments made by Glover Teixeira, who suggested that if he saw Chimaev in a hotel, a confrontation could break out at any moment. Chimaev dismissed that idea. As 2025 comes to a close, discussions about Fighter of the Year have intensified across the MMA world. Heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall recently shared his pick, and his choice surprised many fans. In a new video, Aspinall explained that for him, the standout fighter of the year is Ilia Topuria. He praised Topuria's incredible talent, noting that he believes the featherweight champion has many dominant years ahead of him in the sport. Aspinall highlighted Topuria's composure, precision, and rapid rise, stating that he has been nothing short of unbelievable this year. When asked about his knockout of the year selection, Aspinall admitted some bias. He explained that the moments that stand out most to him are the ones he witnessed live. For that reason, he chose Topuria's knockout of Charles Oliveira, calling it one of the best finishes he has ever seen in person. He described the atmosphere that night as electric, with the arena erupting the moment Oliveira fell. The finish not only secured Topuria the lightweight title, but instantly became one of the year's defining moments. Despite Topuria fighting only once in 2025, the magnitude of that victory is what led Aspinall to place him at the top. Aspinall also acknowledged that if Merab Dvalishvili had won at UFC 323, he likely would have been the clear choice for Fighter of the Year, as he would have set a record with 4 title defenses in a single year. However, Merab's loss shifted the conversation and opened the door for other contenders. Turning to Aspinall's own situation, uncertainty remains regarding when he will return to the octagon after his difficult fight against Cyril Gane in October. Following that bout, UFC CEO Dana White drew attention by saying that only Aspinall truly knew whether he could see during the fight. Aspinall later responded, clarifying that he chose not to continue because he genuinely could not see and refused to risk further damage, insisting he is no dummy. After UFC 323, White addressed Aspinall's comments again, explaining that his earlier statements were not meant as criticism. He said, "The organization has medical professionals monitoring Aspinall, ensuring he receives any assistance he needs." White added that his remarks were simply based on what he had heard at the time and were never intended to be negative or disrespectful. As discussion continues, many are watching to see if Aspinall will respond. Rampage Jackson recently found himself in a tense situation after a confrontation with security staff while streaming on Kick. The incident began when a security guard approached him and asked him to stop filming or leave the premises. Rampage, who was live at the time, clearly disagreed with the request and expressed his frustration. As he attempted to return to his Sprinter van, another guard stopped him from entering the parking area and instructed him to walk around to a different access point. Although this annoyed him, he complied and began making his way through the designated route. The situation escalated when a young fan approached Rampage and politely asked for a picture. Before Rampage could respond, one of the security guards stepped in and attempted to deny the request. That reaction triggered Rampage, who immediately became upset and confronted the guard for trying to prevent a child from taking a photo. Rampage argued that regardless of the earlier issues, there was no reason to refuse a young fan a brief moment to meet him. He insisted the fan be allowed to take the photo, stating that the child had done nothing wrong and that the guard was overstepping his authority. Rampage went on to accuse the guard of being overly controlling and unnecessarily harsh, especially in a situation involving a respectful young supporter. In the lead up to UFC 323, a tense verbal altercation broke out between former light heavyweight champion Jamahal Hill and former strawweight champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk. The confrontation reportedly stemmed from an interaction involving Hill's partner. According to witnesses, Jędrzejczyk was being confrontational toward Hill's girlfriend, which prompted Hill to step in and address the situation directly. Video footage from the incident shows Hill raising his voice after noticing what he perceived as aggressive behavior toward his partner. He firmly warned Jędrzejczyk not to touch his girlfriend, emphasizing that he would not tolerate anyone crossing that line. Jędrzejczyk, known for her fiery personality and confidence, responded by challenging his statement, which only intensified the moment. Hill reiterated his warning, making it clear that he was serious about protecting his partner and would not allow any form of disrespect. Although the exchange was heated, it did not escalate beyond words, and both fighters eventually went their separate ways without a physical confrontation. The footage quickly circulated online, prompting discussion among fans and analysts. Some argued that Hill was justified in defending his partner, while others felt the situation may have been fueled by a misunderstanding or the general tension surrounding a major fight week. The incident highlighted the emotional intensity that can build behind the scenes during UFC events, especially when athletes, teams, and supporters are in close quarters. Both Hill and Jędrzejczyk are known for their competitiveness and strong personalities, which likely contributed to how quickly the exchange escalated. Despite the moment drawing significant